Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a quick video on this topic to express myself and share what I see. I'm not saying this to try to appear superior to you in any way. But what I've observed, first of all, I have observed, that we are re-evolving and that we are moving towards a cultural norm, which is vegan and which is not speciesist. But what I also notice with a lot of people is a disconnect and some odd false programming. It seems odd from being outside of that paradigm, but I also have felt to different degrees similar things when I was within that paradigm, living that way. So what I've noticed is a lot of people who recognize things that were horrible in the past and think that some things that were cultural norms in the past are really horrible. What they don't realize is that it wasn't that long ago, and what they don't realize is that at the time it was the culturally accepted norm. I mean, I think they do to an extent, but what I'm coming across is people who feel like we have fully evolved from the hate and discrimination and barbaric mistreatment based on differences as a culture. Okay. So I'm talking about racism, I'm talking about sexism, talking about classism. These people will recognize that it occurred, that it still occurs now, but, it's not politically correct and it's not the socially accepted norm. It's no longer socially acceptable to be racist, for example. And a number of people have these thought patterns, this paradigm that says, oh, slavery happened in the past in America, and we have evolved so much from that, and they just feel like we've completely evolved, and it's none of it is socially acceptable anymore. So that we've hit this sort of like perfection point as far as what's socially acceptable. And when we have situations of racism or sexism or homophobia and violence attached to that and all of that, then those people are just wrong and ignorant and living in the past and really need to evolve, and how can't they see clearly? Okay, but the thing is when you're living inside of a paradigm, you can't look at it objectively. You can't look at it from the outside in the same way you can when you step out of it and stop living within those socially accepted norms and what's the boundaries of that. And what a lot of people aren't realizing is that in the past, that was the culturally accepted norm, and to step outside of it, while we might think, okay, yeah, that's what comes from the heart. We recognize that people of other races are deserving of their rights and deserve their freedom like we do, and deserve not to be beaten and mistreated. They deserve to be valued as equals. And we can look back and say, why didn't people in the past wake up faster? Why didn't they just follow their own moral compass and screw the social norm? And the answer to that is some of them did, but it's not as simple as that. It's not as easy as that. People are very, very dependent on each other, and they have a lot of psychological stuff in relation to fitting in and not being an outcast. And while that seems shallow, it's really, in our DNA and our survival to do this, because if you put us out in nature, in the wild, there are predators, there are lions and tigers, and that would eat us, and sticking together was very important in the past, so it has genetically been passed on to us. And so the reason I'm wanting to do this video is because a lot of these same people they're still living in a paradigm of discrimination and hate, and discrimination and hate and injustice, and they're denying it. They're in denial about it because it's the socially accepted norm, and it is hard. There are challenges to breaking away from that. I don't know about hard, but your mind can make it feel like it's hard, make it think that it's hard. And I think that part of the reason that some of these people want to cling to that belief system of us being completely evolved socially as a society, what's acceptable in society, what's not, and cling to that paradigm of looking down on people in the past and thinking, how horrible, how could they? We would never do that. We're so much more evolved. Is because it supports them not facing the issue at hand right now. And the issue at hand right now is that we are still in a culture that does this. It does this not with racism in this country, not with sexism in this country, and there are still varying degrees of sexism that I feel, but women have the right to vote, and it's illegal to beat your wife, things like that. But animals they have more in common with us than they don't. Okay? So when we say, oh, but we're talking about people, not animals, that's a whole another topic. Why? And when people answer that question, they come up with really answers that don't have a very good foundation. Some people say, because of our intelligence, because we are more intelligent than animals. First of all, animals have different intelligence. They have intelligence better suited to their needs, okay? They don't need to do long division. So they don't know how. But, certain species have talents and intelligences that we don't have because it suits them. They can smell way better than us. They can hear way better than us. They can climb trees way better than us. All these different things. Not to mention how downplayed animal intelligence is. And this happened in southern, United States. This happened in the southern United States when it came to Black people, African American people. Their intelligence was played way down. It was culturally believed that they were stupid, that they were not as intelligent as humans, as white humans, and that was used as an excuse. And the same thing is going on with animals. It's an excuse. It's not, there's no foundation to that. Even if animals were less intelligent than human animals, other animals were less intelligent than human animals, that's not really the human moral compass that we go by. We don't say people's worth, human or non-human people, their worth depends on their intelligence. You can beat someone and you can kill someone, you can rape them, you can do whatever you want to them if they are dumb. We don't do that. If that was the case, then why people wouldn't, okay, there's vegetables, there's mentally disabled people, people with retardation. We don't go around saying, oh, I'm sorry, officer, you've made a mistake. This retarded person, it's perfectly okay that I beat him half to death because he's retarded. He doesn't have the intelligence that you and I have, so you can go about your business. We don't do that when children are born, and they have, a disability that makes them less intelligent. We don't say, okay, let's chop this one up and eat it, or, it's okay for this one to get raped. We don't do that because that's not our moral compass. That's not really what matters. The fact that animals can feel pain, they have a nervous system, counts. That's what it comes down to, Everybody who feels pain, and animals, there's a lot more to it too. They have family units, they have their own lives, they have their purpose on this planet, and humans have just been taking it upon themselves to make excuses for perverting that and for restricting to treat them like objects, really, and deprive them of liberty and justice. And it is wrong. But the thing to understand too is that we were born into this culture and this society. We were born into this system that programmed us to be this way. So I just want to suggest for some people, maybe you ought to think about these things and think about your ancestors too and forgive them. It doesn't mean that it's okay what they did, but to understand where they were coming from, that they were in a daze, they were in a trance, they were falsely programmed, and they did these things, and now we look back at it and go, that was horrible. But what good does holding a grudge do? What good does holding a grudge do, or looking down on them do? We really ought to be looking at ourselves. Look at yourself. What is it that you're participating in? And is that really justice? And is that really moral? And is that really in alignment with your heart? Or is it something that you have been taught? And it's hard. Recognize it. You have the same thing. It's like we don't learn from history. It repeats itself. That's said. Well, it's not learning from history to just judge and not put yourself in their position. And like I said, it doesn't mean that you're condoning it or saying it's okay. It's just that it might allow you to look at your role in the world right now and see what your perspective is and what's going on around you. Truly, without the rose-colored glasses on, stepping outside of the matrix and looking at it. Just because non-human animals aren't human doesn't mean that they don't count. And in doing this, you can see what people in the past must have struggled with and did struggle with when they were waking up, when people were starting to evolve and the culture was starting to evolve. It didn't happen overnight. There were families, people had slaves or were in favor of slaves, and who were very racist and who thought and believed, because they had been taught to, and they decided to keep that belief, that they were less intelligent, they didn't matter. It was necessary. Okay, and then you had people in the family who were waking up, sons, daughters, who were, this doesn't feel right, I don't want to participate in this, I don't, this isn't in alignment, and wanted to, liberate the black people from slavery and wanted a world where they were viewed as equal, that everybody could see what they were seeing, that, you know, black people were people just like they were, and that it was a difference, but it didn't make them less. And it certainly didn't make them, it didn't make it acceptable for them to be mistreated or treated differently. Because that's what's happening now. That's what's happening now. People are waking up. You've got sons and daughters and waking up into families where their parents are being very stubborn and saying, you know, it's necessary for us to eat animals. Animals don't matter. Animals don't feel, which is absolute nonsense. They're stupid. But it tastes good, and we're superior beings, so we have a right to do this. And these people, you know, they feel it in their heart that that's not right. That's not in alignment, and that's not how they want to live. That's not the world that they want to be in, and it's not what they want their children to be in. They want the animals to be treated with respect and, you know, seen in their true light, without these lies that are covering things up and allowing society to keep doing this. And it hurts. You know, it hurts seeing your friends being beaten and abused and raped and enslaved, and it hurts seeing them killed, and the greed and the nonsense of it all. But I think it helps to just go to the truth. The truth is that, you know, we woke up into a society that was programmed to believe this. We're recognizing the truth, we're evolving, but humans are doing it, it's happening for different humans at different paces. And so, you know, you may wake up one day and see that all of your friends are doing this, your family's doing this, you're getting criticized, you're getting pressured to do this, but it's not right. And sometimes, you know, it comes down to, are you going to follow your heart and your moral compass and be brave and compassionate and stand up for those who are being brutalized? Or are you going to stick to what is familiar with you and stick to what those around you are doing and try to fit in and try not to make waves or stir the pot because it's uncomfortable? Alright, so this is a long enough video. Maybe I'll talk more on similar subjects in the future. Please let me know if you have any ideas, if you'd like to hear my opinions on anything or have any questions for me. Thank you for all of your likes and shares, comments, nice comments in the past. They're appreciated. Please keep them coming. Also, one more thing before I go, I'm now on Patreon. So if you would like to support me on Patreon, I'm going to leave the link down below, and thank you very much for it. Alright, so that's all. I hope you all are well. Bye.